All right, guys. Well, this is episode number 230, and you guys can put your comments below. Just know that I want to know age and breed or breed mix of dog whenever you tell me what's going on. You can also send in questions. Now, I like to prioritize you guys that show up here. He's not like biting. He's doing kind of the mouthing that we talk about, which isn't, you know, some big you're in trouble or anything. That's the only thing I'll ever really redirect in a puppy. But if it becomes targeting or really mouthing, it will increase as he gets a little bit more bored and frustrated. There's the paw. I actually will do it. No. And go still and just wait for him to move on. Yeah, good job. All I did was I just kind of used my fingertips firmly and just kind of poked him away from me a little bit, like nothing, you know, nothing major, just to kind of interrupt what he was doing, interrupt that cycle of arousal. There's lots of different ways to do it. You can also just make a fist and freeze and just be calm. If you're upset, then they are definitely not going to calm down and stop, you know, targeting you or biting you. But yeah, this is, when we talk about like just easy puppy mouthing, it's not actually biting down, it's truly related to teething. I will generally just redirect this. It's just telling me that he doesn't want to be in my lap. He wants to do things. He wants to have fun. Are you chewing on my ring? Is that delicious? Yeah? All right. I'm going to try to get through one question holding him since he's doing so good. And I did see your question pop up, and I will get to you in just a second. Okay. Let's see here. Mizuki says 3-month-old lab Bernese mix is afraid of going outside. I have to drag him out for a potty. Please help. So, there's another one with a Bernedoodle. Okay, so here we go. And that's another one. Is that let me see if that's the same person. Oh, it didn't pop up soon enough. You want to go ahead and take him? Here we go. Thank you. All right. And yeah, Renee, so nice. So I'll do this one first. Okay. Afraid of going outside. 3 months old. Okay, so that's about 12 weeks. This is not uncommon, even in large breed dogs, even dogs that will end up being quite confident. They can just feel a little bit of overwhelm. It's really tricky. There's like two sides to the coin here. One is you don't want to allow it because it'll become habit, and he'll be 8 months old, and anytime he doesn't want to do anything, he'll just throw on the brakes and get his way. So you don't want to give up. You got to work through it. But on the flip side, we don't want to force him and just be like, you don't get a choice, you know, let's go. So this is a bit tricky without me being there and like seeing you and being able to coach you. If you're working on a harness, you're going to really want to build quite a bit of food drive and food focus. Doesn't necessarily have to be drive. I like that a lot of Bernese are on the calmer side. What I would do though is I would make sure that you're practicing in the house on harness, on leash, or whatever it is you're walking him on, with a very obvious food pouch in the beginning. Now, very quickly we move that food pouch to the back, and then we want to get rid of it completely. But in the beginning, you want it front and center so the dog's mind clicks, oh, we're working, okay? So I want that food pouch on, and I want you to do 5 to 15 minute sessions inside of let's go, step back. All right, so you've got the leash, right? And let's say he's just distracted, sniffing the floor. Take a step back and say, let's go. And when he looks at you or starts to turn, good. And take that piece of food down to the leg. Don't do it to the side. Don't reach out. I want it touching the top of your knee. So it's just like a this. All right, make Josh's job harder, trying to zoom in on me on the replays. And you just wait for the puppy to come to you. Good. Turn and walk. Same thing. You could have a very small space. We do this in very small spaces. And let's go. Rock back. Step back. Wait. Food. Turn and walk. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. When that's really good and the puppy is on top of you and staring at you, then you can just kind of do a normal turn. Let's go. Turn. And then if the puppy turns with you, stop and sit. Good. Piece of food for stop and sit. But you got to get into a groove first. Then you take that into another part of the house, the backyard, the patio area, the grass. Grass is much harder. The front yard, the front walkway first, driveway. And so you really build up the puppy's tolerance to going outside. The other thing I want to tell you is, it's kind of interesting how this works. You still want to have a threshold around the front door, meaning you still want to open the door and he's like, oh, I don't want to go out there. Just do a turn, stop and sit food. Turn, stop and sit food. Inside that tiny, I can just do a turn, walking my feet in place. I don't need a big area. I can lure with food, and do that 3-4 times. Take a few steps, stop and sit food. In the beginning, I might even pick him up. I know he's probably big already, but I might even pick him up, walk a little bit, shut the door, walk a little bit, stop and sit food, do a few just turns, stop and sit food, go back in. But he has to stop and sit when I open the door. And if he tried to jet back inside, going inside, or tried to even jet outside, which you might think is a good thing, like, oh, he finally wants to go outside. No, you still block and have him sit for food. If you don't know what I mean by blocking, this might be a really good time in the puppy's life to maybe get on a little bit of a program. You could do some one-on-one training, like 4 to 6 puppy sessions. We have an online school where you could really, have a program to kind of follow and be able to talk to us. So there's some ideas there, just to make sure that this doesn't bleed into other areas, okay? All right, let's see. Can you tell me what that first comment was? Not that one, but there was one above it. Yeah, because I don't have it on mine.
Bernese Mountain Dog, 12 weeks old. How long can they sleep at night without going to potty? Mine now is going 5 hours.
5 hours. I'm surprised it's only 5, to be honest. This is different for every dog. We do get a lot of calmer breeds or just large breed dogs that can hold it 8 hours within a week. And like they're 9 weeks old, Labrador, and they're holding it 7-8 hours. Whereas another dog, it could be the same breed, Labrador, I just say labs, retrievers tend to be able to do that quickly. Could be another breed and they end up, or another dog end up going 2 hours, and you have to slowly build that window up. A lot of it is personality. How uppity are they? How calm are you? When you let them out of crate, how much of a big deal do you make out of that? That's important, because if they just kind of wake up in the middle of the night, which is really normal for all of us, honestly, if they are used to getting a lot of attention when they get up, during the day and come out of crate, and it's a lot of excitement, and there's not as much focused, like calmer, intentional work, it's not balanced out, he might be like, 3 a.m., let's have some fun like we do during the day. Every single time I come out of crate, it's a party. So just kind of watch that, and it's really more about temperament. I'm sorry I don't have an exact timeline for you. I'll be honest, I think 12 weeks old for a 5 hours for a 12-week-old Bernedoodle, I think is what you said. Bernese Mountain Dog. To me, that sounds normal, or even on the low end. Like, I think very quickly you'll be able to push it to 6 hours and then 7 in another 2 to 4 weeks. So, all right. I haven't seen, if you see any over there on TikTok.
I saw one on TikTok. It was about marking.
Yeah, you want to,
It was, how do you stop marking, and are belly bands bad?
Do I have age and breed?
No.
Oh, okay. So whoever asked about their dog marking and about belly bands, please shoot me over age and breed. And it's not, I can answer the belly band thing. Definitely don't do belly bands for a puppy. But if your dog is over 2 years old, 1.5, 2 years old, and they don't have any medical issues, and you don't have a choice, you keep leaving and they keep marking when you're not around, belly bands are not a solution, it's just a Band-Aid. So if you want to do belly bands for the rest of your life, I truly do mean that, use them, I mean, I'm not a fan, but I've also been in some situations where they were the only thing that was going to work for a certain family. And so, I'm for me, it just depends on the situation with belly bands, but they don't teach anything, that's for sure. And they're really gross. So it's just like, there's a lot of washing involved. You're basically, it's like having, a kid with a diaper, so you're kind of putting yourself in that situation for the next however many years your dog is alive. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. As far as the marking behavior, I need to know the age, and preferably breed mix, if you could follow back up with me. Okay, let's see. Lynn's Gammon says, 7-month-old mini Cockapoo gets really bitey with me sitting on the couch. Not mouthing, but biting. Good distinction. Tried to ignore, distract, give a toy. Nothing seems to be working. That's because when it comes to biting, you do not want to distract. What happens is what you're seeing, they're not getting any improvement, right? There has to be a valuable no. So, Mike, there's 2 tiers to this. First of all, it is very common for dogs to get amped up when they're on even playing field with you, on couch, on the bed, on furniture. My little dog Happy used to freak out on the bed. It's when she was the most intense with playing fetch and stuff. And she knew she was on an even playing field. They're animals. They know physical hierarchy as well as, mental, boundaries hierarchy. And so sometimes that just makes dogs go a little nutty. It makes it more fun. You're on this even playing field. Can't think of another name besides that. Sorry. But whenever you are in that situation, there's a few things you can do. One is 7-month-old, go ahead and start to, I'm not going to tell you to keep a Cockapoo on the floor. I'm not crazy. So, but you can do a little more floor work. But I also want you to practice a calming command on the couch. So that's best done with some sort of bed. So you could have a blanketed spot on your couch. I would prefer starting with an actual dog bed though, since you're kind of struggling. Hopefully you have taught a go to your bed command on the ground. We call it place. And so it's place, sit down, good food. Let's go, turn, place, sit down, good food. And then you work on stay, right? Hopefully you've done that on the ground. If you haven't, that's where you've got to start. And then I would take that place bed, or any place bed, maybe it can be the couch place bed, put it up next to you and have a little space, and and the dog would still be on leash, and I would work on, place, sit down, good. He starts to get in my lap, block, grab leash, little leash pressure, no, stay, and work on that, then on the bed. And then you can eventually relax, lean back, and continue to, good, piece of food. Ignore the puppy for 10 seconds. Good piece of food. And a 7-month-old, honestly, could easily do an hour in place. No big deal. So build to that. You can build to that within a couple of weeks. If you know what to do, you could jump on YouTube, learn how to teach place balance training, which just means probably you should see a slip lead and body language to have the dog move, back to place, away from you, to teach resets. That's generally what a lot of balance training looks like. But you could do it on harness. You could do it on a martingale. I wouldn't do it on flat collar. But yeah, so that's how to actually cultivate some more calm on your couch. Stop petting and teach calm, no touch, no association on the couch. Usually when dogs do that, I'll just be honest with you, Linz, I'm well, the dog doesn't want to be pet. If the dog's doing that, they don't want to be pet. And this breed, the breed mix that you mentioned, is notorious for being higher energy and pretty, pretty nutty in the adolescent phase. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that they're just very, very energetic. And she wants to learn how to do stuff, and she wants to be shown the world, not sit on the couch and be pet. So it makes me wonder, how much playtime versus work. We call playtime work time, calm time break time. A lot of puppies don't get much break time. Calm time is crate, and when you're practicing trying to teach your puppy how to be calm out of crate. And then you've got work time and playtime. A lot of times, some families are doing 75% playtime and only 25% work, which is teaching obedience, which is on the walk and in the house, And that messes the puppies up because it's way too much drive and excitement without enough structure, guidance, leadership, all that stuff. And so, just look at what your day, looks like with those kind of 4 quadrants and see what adjustments you can make to just have a calmer dog in general. And I'm telling you, this breed is that we've seen is prone to being a little extra during adolescence. Different than a German Shepherd or another breed. But it's very much this excitement for life and quite a bit of energy, to be honest. What is happening?
Wow.
Woo!
Very special.
That was for you. That was for you, Linz. And so that's another thing. Okay, so let's get to really quickly, because honestly, this is the quickest part, the actual biting itself. I would have your puppy drag around a leash when supervised, of course. And if I am on the couch, I'm making sure I'm petting calmly, staying away from the ears and the face, because that always triggers, I mean, you saw it if you were here in the very beginning. I mean, you saw it with that puppy that I had. If I have a hand in front of her face or if I touch her face, she's going to go for it right away, right? So what I would do is I'm cultivating that, that down. I'm patterning, the repetition of that down and calm down. If she seems calm, which is the only time you should really, pet your puppy anyway, because you want to reward calmness, make sure your petting is calm. And so like, it is slow. Even if you're scratching, your fingers are slow. Your puppy should melt into affection, not get crazed by affection, which is what often happens when you're petting quickly and talking sweetly and excitedly, and staying around the ears and the face, and you accidentally make your hands represent excitement. So it might take some time. So first, let's make sure you're doing that nice and calm. And as soon as you get the bitiness, I can just grab the leash. No, and leash pressure straight up. Now you're not lifting your dog clear off the ground. You're just doing tension, like your little paws, or they're still down. They're still in a down, or their paws are still touching the ground. We're not lifting our dogs up. It's just a little bit of tension to show, like calm down and just out and away from you. They can relax. Good. Don't touch them. Just pause for a second. Good. Go to touch them again. And even if they're good for just like 2 seconds, good, maybe piece of food, So really play around with that and see where you can get as far as using all of those tools to not just work on the biting, but actually train, raise the dog that you want, for the next 12 to 15 years, just to be honest. Okay, cool. All right, I'm moving on. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Here we go. Moni Brew says, my 5-month-old, a mini dachshund. How do you help with the barking? How do you help with anything with a miniature dachshund? Okay, no, I'm just kidding. 5-month-old. Barking. Barking at what? Let's see if I have some more details. So I'm glad I got age and breed, but I'm really curious, like barking at what? Because I can give you the exact scenario. So if you're still on here, could you let me know what is it? Maybe it's everything in the house, outside the house. Like just give me a rundown so I got a little bit more focus. Okay. Mizuki says, thank you so much. All right. Izzy says, I'm getting an 11-week-old, corky puppy in March. I love herding dogs. I'm a little obsessed. All right. We live in an apartment building. That's okay. Maybe. We'll see. If you had to choose, do you prefer pee pads or real grass pad on the patio? No contest. No contest. If you have a male, definitely grassy patch. But 2, if you don't plan on having to have a pee pad to travel for, like if you traveled a lot overseas, 10 to 12, hours at a time, if that is not you, that is not your life, that's not going to be your dog's life, there's really no reason to stick to the pee pad, especially with such a large breed dog. I know they're like short, but they're medium. They're a medium breed. They're just short, low to the ground. And so that's a lot of pee is my point. And so I wouldn't worry about the pee pad, and unless there's like some reason that you can think of that you would want to use it throughout the dog's life. If there's no reason to use it throughout the dog's life, do not worry about it for puppyhood, like truly. I did use puppy pads with my little dog Happy. That's because I traveled. I knew I was traveling a ton. Sorry, my back is killing me. I knew I was going to be traveling a ton with her, and I did. And I needed to be able to use it for airport bathrooms and things like that. Back when I had her, it wasn't even as friendly. They didn't even have like areas for the dog other than outside of the airport. And so that was really important for me. So she continued to use pee pads her whole life. And yeah, but it's a hassle, and it's hard actually too. It's actually kind of hard. It can be anyway. So don't worry about it if you don't need to. And that grassy patch outside, it's perfect. And we have an online school. And nothing would make me happier than to get to work with a corgi, cute little 8-week-old corgi puppy. And so if you like, go to the puppyacademy.com and just check out our online program. It's extensive. There is a protocol for all of your basic training. So we have classes that go over all the normal stuff. And then we have an entire library that's all the other stuff, like what it's like to actually work on socialization, to prevent separation anxiety, the biting, the grooming, like it's all the extra is in our library. And then you get to talk to us once a week, or send us questions, or go live like a Zoom. We can watch you working with your dog. We can, problem solve behaviors. So anyway, okay, let's see.
You got some answers for the barking.
Oh, okay. When someone comes to the front door, when he hears kids on the street, runs on the deck and barks until I say come, and then he comes inside. Okay. All right. So you said on the deck and barks. Here's how you create a guard dog. You put him in your yard and you leave him alone. And what I mean by that is you don't really have any input in their behavior. You walk inside, you're maybe watching them from the window. Not that you're doing that, but you just kind of leave them to their own devices for long periods of time in a yard. It's the same with the deck. So the hard part about this is you've accidentally put a young puppy in a position to feel good about his territory, right? And that's what's happening. He's coming, into adolescence, and actually, I think you said he was 5 months old. Maybe it was 7, but yeah, 5-month-old. So he's already doing this literally at the very beginning of adolescence, and so it's going to get worse before it gets better. And so you're going to want to really dig into this now of just a different type of schedule for him. And I know it stinks. Wouldn't it be nice to just put him on the porch? He has a good time. He gets to be outside. It's nice, but I wouldn't suggest it anymore. What I would suggest is doing some of your training sessions, whatever that is. Maybe you've worked on place, come, sit, break, So whatever he's really good at in the house on leash, if you haven't practiced it on leash, add the leash. That's what you're going out to the porch to do. You go out to the porch on leash, you do your potty, and you do place, sit, come, break, place, sit, whatever it is. And you just do that 10 to 15 times in a row. And then a kid walks by or something walks by organically, or a noise, in the trees or the bushes. And he's maybe he gets out a little one, and you're immediately no, little tug of the leash, come, place, sit. And you redirect him, and maybe you have to go in the house for a second and do some turns, get his focus back, and then go back out on the porch. You just have to work him through it. I will say, at 5 months old, I would probably, as long as you're doing that, as long as you feel like you're being fair to the puppy, giving guidance, it's so important. If you feel like you are giving the puppy enough exercise, discipline, and I don't mean discipline hitting the dog. I mean discipline as in the structure throughout the day, he knows what to expect. He's going to get the walk, the play, the training, there's a schedule to follow. If you feel like you are even 70% doing a good job of that, that's actually pretty high, then you can go ahead and add in an aversive if you want. You don't have to, but if you want, I would try this. Let's say I've got a good groove. I got good focus on the porch. I've been working on this for 3-4 days, 2-3 times a day, 5 to 10 minute intervals, and I got good focus on the porch. I'm going to add in maybe a pet corrector. Pet corrector squirts air. It just goes like that. And so I'm going to have that. You can actually find a way to clip it to you. They have that, or just have it in your pocket, in your treat pouch. You don't make a big deal out of it. It's got to be an extension of you. It's not you're in trouble. You don't make it about the can. It's got to be an extension of you. And so catch him early. You have to catch the intention to bark. If he's already barking his head off, go inside, calm him back down, bring him back out again. But if you can catch him at just the arousal, where he's just ears forward, wrinkly forehead, what is that? What do you hear that? Maybe his mouth closes. They tend to go really stiff. They're he's about to bark. So, or maybe he does get out a little, a little woof, and you get the hyper focus. Just add a marker word if you can, if you have time. add a marker word, no, and then and pause for just a second, not long, just a second to see what his demeanor is. Does he not care about the noise at all? Does he back away from the noise and go, oh my God, what was that? Or maybe it just causes him to pause for an extra second before barking his head off like he's been doing. Hopefully you get that pause window because you want to see how it affects him. And then you're going to go in, not like you're mad, but probably in a more authoritative tone. Puppy, let's go. Come. Good. And do like a turn. Place. Good. And get him working again. And so you are adding like a little bit of an aversive into the mix. It's a very mild one for most puppies and dogs because it's just a noise. They do figure it out pretty quick that it's just a noise and it's not that big of a deal. Because of that, that's like on the can it says, do not spray within 12 inches or something of the dog. I mean, you can do a blast of air on the back end of the dog, like behind the rib cage, but always introduce it as a noise because sometimes the noise is enough and dogs are very sensitive to noise. Sometimes they don't care at all. So you're going to play around with that. And the reason it's so, I just keep drilling this in, the reason it's so important to have the redirection of the basic obedience, not just when it happens, but practicing it on the back end, is because just like with kids, you can't just say, don't do this, don't hit the window, don't hit your brother. It just doesn't work. You have to have an alternative. You have to have a refocus for really young children of what to do instead, like hands to yourself or whatever it is, or play with this instead. This is what we want you to do instead, because otherwise it becomes too negative. So you can't just be like, no, and then they're like, okay, well, what do I do with myself? Nothing? All right, well, the next thing comes up, I'm going to go be right back to it. So you have to also be like, don't do this, do this. But the tricky thing is the do this category should be like 98% and the don't do this is like 2%. That's different with every dog, but we're dealing with a puppy. So we want to make sure that we're really setting them up for success and doing tons of patterned repetition where they start to just feel a certain way, like they're about to bark, and they will just run to place or come back to you. And you can just be like, good job. That's what we're going for, especially at such a young age. And if you just go the aversive route and you don't have this, I can promise you 90% of miniature dachshunds, they will just push through that and not care within a few days, not care at all, maybe not care from the beginning, because they haven't practiced any brain redirection and created neural pathways in the brain to have another alternative, another thing to choose instead. So they just push through corrections. That goes for anything, no matter what you're doing. Whether it's a leash, whether it's body language, body blocking, whether it's something like tool usage, for older dogs, whatever it is, if you don't have the actual training, guidance, fulfillment, and you're being like a teacher, you don't have that type of relationship with your puppy, they will just push through anything you have to throw at them, and then it won't matter anymore, and then you'll have like nowhere to go, because you've desensitized them completely. And so anyway, not to beat a dead horse, but that's why I'm just focusing so much on don't forget actually working the dog. And miniature dachshunds, contrary to popular belief, they are not easy dogs. They are not easy dogs. Okay, I'm going to move on. Let's see here. 4-month-old. Oh, it's 1:31. Okay, I'm going to do this one real quick. Jersey says, 4-month-old Aussie Shepherd worked on crate training, can stay in there for an hour or two quietly, but doesn't actually nap. Sorry. Any suggestions to get actual naps, not just calmness? Oh, Jersey. My border collie didn't nap for years, and I worked very hard. I am the queen of calm patterning, especially for like older puppy and adult dogs, and he could stay in place duration for 2 hours, stay in crate, just up, maybe lay his head down, but eyes open all day, and would only sleep at night. That's not supernatural for the breed. I mean, even farm dogs that work sheep all day will catch a hot nap while the farmer's having lunch. I mean, like it's just they normally do sleep more than that, especially at the age of your puppy. So I'm wondering a few things. Is it an active area? And I'm going to try to, I can't ask you questions, unfortunately, because I got to run through these quick because I got to go because it's time. But I want to just give you a few highlights. One, cover the crate, or just make sure it's like a darker room, the blinds are closed, have some sort of fan, something, you know, going that muffles the noise, and you can play the radio or something. I don't mean like smooth jazz, like play people talking back and forth and having conversations can really help drown out outside noises. So if there's a random neighbor noise or cat noise or something like that just keeps the puppy awake and on edge and waiting for the next thing, having just people regularly talking like me, like this, can kind of actually lull them into a sleep. And the other thing I would say is maybe we try stacking a bit more exercise. Maybe it's not going to be as traditional for you at such a young age to do a 30-minute window of like work, play, and some, you know, we do supervised separation outside of crate. Maybe it's going to be more like work, play, tiny little break, more work, patterning, crate, and try a chunk of exercise. Try, if you've been doing 15 minutes, try 30 and see if the dog is really tired. And if you think it's crate, leave the dog out with you, like tethered to you, and if they start to drift off, calmly, let's go, crate, put them in crate. Start to see if it's a crate thing and they're just waiting to be let out because they're alone, or if it's your dog really can stay awake all day and then sleep at night. So start to play around with that is. I'd love to have you next week and get some follow up on that. All right, guys, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.